Alright, I'm on hole number 9 of the Clifftop links. I'm in Tuesday's qualifying round in the rookie division. I am trying to qualify today. I haven't had a bad round. Just been playing the average score, and I've picked up something. Picked up a hole in one on 2. And I did pick up the eagle on 3. Okay, this hole right here, this is another scene of the crime. This was hole number 18 in the creepy cliffs, and played it all week long, didn't have a problem. And on the last round, 18th hole, I clipped the rough right there and ended up out here and couldn't get on, and ended up getting a birdie here instead of an eagle, and it dropped me from a top 10 finish, top 5 finish to 19th. That's how tight the bracket was. You couldn't afford to miss any shots. So we don't want that to happen today. What I want to do is I'm trying to just lay up out here. I'm going to bring my Guardian, and I'm going to try and bring it and backspin, side spin it into the hole, and I'm going to bring a Titan. My notes say Kingmaker just because of the side spin. So let's see here. Extra Mile, Guardian. That should be the only 2 clubs I need. Hornet. Kingmaker. Titan. Either one of those are going to work. The chances of Albie here are pretty grim, and I'm not sure bringing a Kingmaker is going to enhance my ability to get an Albie, because the Albie shot here is, if anybody makes an Albie on this, it's a high 5, but it was a luck shot. And it doesn't matter. There's no like setting it up and you're in the thing and you do this and you're going to do it. Maybe if you hit off the island, you might have there might be some setup shot out there, but I'm definitely not going to engage that island. You want to learn how to hit off that island, you're going to have to watch somebody else's videos, because I am not a fan of putting that type of stuff into play. So there should be, it does carry further down into this hole. So the deal is that it's hard to say when you're hitting into this. It's hard to say, well, you're always supposed to make a 20% wind adjustment, or you're always supposed to make a 10% wind adjustment. And when I say that, what I'm meaning is that we always make wind adjustments, but when you're adding on 10% or you're adding on 20%, sometimes I don't add on that 20 or add on that 10 on a drive. I'll just make sure on my drive, especially in lower wind. If I was playing an expert or masters, I'd be a little more critical. But if you're hitting with a tailwind here, it's going to carry you further into that hole. We all know how a headwind works. Headwind's going to, from the first bounce of your ball, that headwind's going to pound that between the first bounce and the second bounce. And so you do a bigger wind adjustment, and you may find yourself in bigger trouble if you got high wind and you're in headwind and you do a 20% wind adjustment. That may put you too far down into the hole. So those wind adjustments are really going to be dependent on which way the wind is blowing. And so a lot of times on these shots, I will make a wind adjustment, but I won't do the add-on. I'll just give myself plenty of room down in that hole. And so we can get over here and try and get up into that spot, but I'm not interested in risking getting up in there and in that narrow spot and ending up in the drink. So what I want to do is I want to just stop when I get to the other side. I'm laying up. It's 2.1 per ring, so I'm going to do just a little over a ring. Hitting it perfect. Now watch where the first bounce is. Plenty of room. Watch where the second bounce is. Plenty of room. And that's pretty much exactly where I set it up. I was a couple rings off. The second bounce was a ring and a half away from that rough, and that's about where it hit. I just want to be in that spot. So if you had a Spitfire, you can pretty easily get on from there. And my opponent's got a high enough Malibu, they've got a shot from there. But it's never good to have to come into an area like this where it's that narrow. And if I was setting this shot up, I can tell you right now, I'd have my rings so that they were absolutely in the center. I'd give myself as much distance as I possibly could to the left or the right. I'd put as much side spin on as I can. And I'd probably add just a little bit of curl just to make sure it went into the left-hand direction. But I would try and get on the green and secure my eagle and move on, not try and do anything risky. Okay, so there's my red line. I got plenty of club here. Now I'm going to do exactly what I said. I want to center myself. I want to give myself as much room with those traps as possible. What I'm looking for here is I want that ball guide in that hole. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to adjust out. I'm going to do curl to get me in the right spot. I'm going to do a full wind adjustment here. So there's 3, 6. I'm going to do about 3.5 rings. I'm going to put on curl. Hitting it great on the inside. Giving myself a look at it. That's what I'm talking about. I hate it when it does that slow-mo and you're thinking, wow, it's going to go in. And then it's just that close. Close. Getting old. The deal is that when I come to this hole, I never ever in my mind even think about Albie. I've hit a couple Albies on this hole, and they've just been like, wow, I can't believe I got an Albie on that hole. But the whole deal is to just safely put yourself up there so you can get an eagle and go home. And what I found is I'm actually getting a little bit, even though it looks like when I turn it to the side like that and I'm looking at like where it's going to stop, it's not actually back spinning back towards the hole because you're going kind of down a hill, and I'm actually being a little long. And so I actually need to put on more backspin and not worry so much about the side spin. Try and pick that back up with curl. That way I'd be closer to the hole. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That is exactly why I don't like to take long putts. Oh my gosh. That's all right. What a bummer. Could have went into the could have had, my whole goal was to just break a little bit above the average with a, going in with a -13 tiebreaker and going in with a -13 tiebreaker into the weekend round would have been really nice. That would separate me from a lot of people in the group. There's always going to be a few people up there that have -13s, but going into a bracket of 100, there's probably only going to be maybe a handful of people that got a -13 in the qualifying round, and then dropping a shot on there when I'm on the green is always a bummer. Especially when I was on there. I didn't take any risks on the hole. And that's what happens when you that's what happens for me personally. That's what happens when you have to take, that to me was a long putt. I don't normally have to take long putts. I've never got good at making long putts because I got good at trying to be closer to the hole. And as I was talking about right before I made that putt, I was noticing that I'm shooting past the hole a little bit because the backspin's not engaging. And so instead of trying to get some side spin on there, I should put more backspin on so that it ends up right in front of the hole. And if I get the curl right, it gives me a better shot to actually put it in there. So in the future, that's definitely what I'm going to do. All right, that was Tuesday's qualifying round in the Clifftop Links tournament. Thanks for watching.